A long time ago, in the ancient land of Greece, there existed a powerful city called Argos. In this city lived a king called King Acrisius. King Acrisius lusted for power so much that he had his own brother expelled from the city so that none could challenge his rule. And thus, when he ascended to the throne, he was completely unopposed. But the one thing he wanted out of everything was a child. He wanted a son so that he could pass down his legacy to, his kingdom to. And he and his wife tried for many years to conceive a son, but they were never able to do so. The most they were able to conceive was a daughter. Maybe because he had a narrow urethra, I don't know. Either way, they tried for many years, and when the queen was no longer able to conceive a child, King Acrisius turned to the gods for help. He asked the oracles of Delphi to please remedy this curse for him. And instead of giving him a remedy, they gave him a curse. They told him that not only will you not have a son, you will have a grandson that will cause you to die. Upon hearing this, King Acrisius ran to his home and locked his daughter, the princess, up in a high tower, away from the glances of men, so that none could be enchanted and have them fall in love with her. But, unbeknownst to the king of the gods, Zeus, from Mount Olympus, had already laid eyes upon her, and he decided to pay her a visit. One night, he paid her a visit as a shower of gold and entered her room, and by morning the princess had become pregnant. When the princess became pregnant, she became pregnant with the first demi-human and demi-god. This was Perseus. Perseus was raised in secret for 4 years, until King Acrisius discovered him when he paid the princess a visit. Unable to kill his own daughter and his only grandson, and fearing the wrath of Zeus if he had killed them, he decided to lock them up in a chest with no food or water and set them out adrift to sea for 9 days and 9 nights, hoping that they would die. But Poseidon, the god of the sea, the god of the storms, and the god of the earthquakes, safely guided them to the island of Seriphos, where a fisherman known as Dictys would save them. Dictys raised Perseus as his own until he was of age. When Perseus became of age, he learned that King Polynectes, the king of the island, was lusting after his mother and wanted her to marry him. But he was unable to do so because Perseus was always guarding her, like a kid that won't get out the way. Either way, he was always guarding her and he was never able to talk with her. So he was always thinking of a way to get rid of Perseus. One day he held a banquet and he told every man on the island that they must bring him tribute. You gotta give me money. And Perseus was a poor man. He couldn't even afford a chicken. So he told the king, instead of giving you money, I will bring you the head of Medusa. She was a vile, evil creature that turned any man that saw her into stone. The king, seeing this as a chance to get rid of him, accepted his offer, and Perseus went to the temple of the gods to seek help, as he did not know how to defeat her. Normally the gods would not interfere in human affairs, but because Perseus was the son of Zeus, they decided to help him. Here, Athena gave him a shield. Hermes gave him a pair of winged sandals. Hades gave him an indestructible sword. No. Hades gave him a pair of Hades gave him an invisible helmet, and he also received an indestructible sword and a magical bag where he would be able to put the head of Medusa. There, they told him to go find the Grey Sisters, three witches that shared one tooth and one eye. And upon meeting them, they did not want to help Perseus, but Perseus saw that they were sharing an eye, and upon the transfer, he took the eye and held it from them and forced them to give him the information that he wanted. The witches told Perseus to go find the nymphs, as they would have the answers to where Medusa was hiding. Medusa was once a nymph herself, and she was the daughter of powerful sea deities. So when Perseus found the nymphs, they told him the story of Medusa. Medusa was one of three sisters. She was the middle sister, the only mortal of the three, and her two sisters were powerful sea deities, Stenos and Uriel. Stenos the older and Uriel the younger. When they were born, Medusa was born the only mortal, but she was born the most beautiful, with long golden hair. Every man that saw her wanted to marry her, but she wanted to devote herself to Athena. She was the goddess of wisdom and the goddess of defensive warfare. She greatly admired Athena and became a priestess to her temple. But she was too beautiful, so Athena became jealous of Medusa because when people went to her temple, they went to go see Medusa, not Athena. And nobody was worshipping Athena, and she was becoming jealous. Poseidon, upon seeing this, took it upon a chance to kill two birds with one stone, because he saw Athena as an enemy from the past and as a rival, and he also lasted after Medusa. So one day when Medusa was by the sea, Poseidon came out and tried to seduce her, but Medusa tried to escape and went back to the temple of Athena. Poseidon followed her, and because Athena was not there, he violated her and got her pregnant. Upon learning of this, Athena became greatly enraged, and she could not take her anger out on her powerful uncle Poseidon. So she took her anger out on Medusa. She said it was Medusa's fault for being so seductive. She lured Poseidon into it. It was her fault. And she cursed Medusa. She made her into a vile, hideous creature, a gorgon, like with scaly skin, the body of a snake. Any man that would see her would turn into stone, so that none could ever see her again, so that she would be lonely forever. And Aphrodite turned her beautiful golden hair into all of those snakes that you see in the pictures in the movies. Her two sisters, Stenos and Uriel, upon hearing this, became enraged and tried to speak up for Medusa, as it was not her fault that she was violated. But Athena would have none of it, and he cursed them as well. There, once they became ugly creatures, they were hunted by all men in Athens and Greece, until they had to flee to North Africa and to a giant cave. Many men tried to chase after them. Many men tried to kill them. And many men never came back. They all died or turned to stone, never to become back. They are all nameless heroes now. Now, this is where the sea nymphs come in. The sea nymphs tell Perseus where Medusa is, and so Perseus puts on his pair of winged sandals and flies towards Medusa. There he takes her out the place, and then he puts on the helm of invisibility by Hades, and he goes into the cave where she's hiding. She's hiding on a pair of petrified corpses from over the years, and he turns around because he doesn't want to turn to stone, and puts up the shield from Athena. Slowly backs up until he's close to her, pulls out the indestructible sword, and cuts her head off. From there, he puts the head, without looking at it, into the magical bag, and as he's leaving, a beautiful winged horse comes out of Medusa's body. It's the love child of Poseidon and Medusa from all those years ago when he violated her, finally ready to come out. Here, Perseus rides on Pegasus, and they escape because he's being chased by the two sisters that he was unable to kill. As he's leaving, the head of Medusa is dropping droplets of blood all over the land, and these droplets of blood turn into the snakes that we have today. Once he's on his way to Seraphos, he comes across a beautiful princess chained up into a rock. And this is the Princess Andromeda. According to the stories, Queen Cassiopeia of Ethiopia proclaimed herself to be the most beautiful woman in all the land, even more beautiful than the Nereids, more beautiful than all the human females, and more beautiful than the goddesses. This enraged Poseidon because he was dating the Nereids, and he sent his waves to destroy the coast, and sent a powerful sea monster to guard the coast so that none could get near Ethiopia. Queen Cassiopeia wanted to help relieve the curse, and went to the oracles to see what could be done. They told Queen Cassiopeia that she had to sacrifice her daughter. So with tears in her heart, she sacrificed Princess Andromeda. That is when Perseus showed up, and he told the queen and the king, "If you let me marry Princess Andromeda, I'll kill the sea monster for you." He gladly said yes, and so he killed them. He went up to the horse, Pegasus. He rode him, and with the magical bag, he took out the head of Medusa, and petrified the giant sea monster, and hacked and slashed away at him until he was dead. Then he rescued the princess and brought her back to land where they were married. He then went back to the island of Seraphos, where he learned that his mother was in hiding because the king was harassing her and trying to force her to marry him. So in a rage, Perseus went to the castle, and he took out the head of Medusa, and he petrified all the guards and started killing them. Then he went to where the king was located, and King Polynectes tried his best to attack Perseus with his spear, but Perseus froze him with the head of Medusa and killed him. From there, he went back to the island, and he told Dictys that he was the new king. And with his mother and the Princess Andromeda, they went back to the city of Argos to meet his grandfather. When his grandfather learned that he was coming, he was happy and worried at the same time. Happy because his grandson had become famous, and worried because of the curse. So he put on a disguise and went out into the city to go meet him. Perseus, having arrived, was surprised that he had become famous, and the people urged him to enter into a contest to test his might against all of the men in Greece. And Perseus agreed, as he wanted to see how strong he was. On one of the competitions, he was going to throw a giant disc. When he threw the giant disc, He threw it so hard that it went off course and hit a man on the head. This man was killed instantly, and it was King Acrisius in disguise, thus proclaiming the prophecy to be true. And unfortunately, Perseus should have been king of Argos at this point, but they don't tolerate family murder in that area. They tolerate every other kind of murder, but not that kind of murder. So he was exiled from Argos, and he went and founded a new city called Mycenae, where one of his descendants became known as the Great Hercules. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. That was the story of Medusa and Perseus. My name is Wraith from One Penny Thoughts. If you like the story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you and have a nice day.